put you in breakout rooms. We'll put you in breakout rooms, and you'll have a chance then to visit each breakout room, and we'll move you ourselves, so don't worry about that. So I'm going to switch myself off for the time being, or at least switch my video off. But just before I do that, I'd like to introduce you to our three speakers today. First of which, only because you're next to me at the moment, Debbie, on camera, is Debbie O'Connell. Debbie O'Connell is from NatWest. If you'd like to briefly introduce yourself, Debbie.
Hi, everybody. So as Melinda said, my name's Debbie O'Connell. I work for NatWest Bank in Croydon. I'm a senior relationship manager in our commercial team, and I look after businesses based in Croydon and South London. I started in the bank about 37 years ago now. So I've done quite a varied job, lots of jobs in the bank, which, you know, I'm happy to chat about up until where I am now.
Thank you very much. Debbie, we'd like to go over to Nikki now at Nationwide.
Yeah, my name's Nikki. I'm the branch manager of Nationwide in Purley. Been at Nationwide coming up to 28 years now, sort of all in the retail role, so all within branches, but varied roles within that.
Okay, that was it. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, that's short and sweet. I was waiting for you to say some more. Okay, over to you.
And if you want.
We'll get round to that. Rajan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Melinda. Hi, Rajan. I mean, we're independent insurance brokers in Croydon. We've been here 6 years now, and we've been trading under the Coversure banner for 22 years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking with you and sharing what insurance and insurance broking is about. My interests are golf and yoga, and trying to engage with the local community, which I must say Croydon has been a superstar in that. So yeah, I'd like to talk about that, then happy to do that.
Thank you very much, Raj, and thank you for shouting up about Croydon as well. We all know it, but it's nice to get it out there more so. Right, I think what we'll probably do is we'll keep it in this format because it's quite nice, it's quite informal. Remember to use the chat function if you want to ask questions during the time, then I can ask those as we go along. So Debbie, would you like to start off with your, I know it's not exactly a presentation, but with your talk?
Yes, certainly. So as I said, I've worked for NatWest for about 37 years now. When I left school, wasn't particularly knowing what I wanted to do. I'd done my work experience for a couple of weeks with Lloyds Bank, so I thought, okay, I'll try banking. Applied to about 7 or 8 different banks, got a couple of interviews, took the first one which was offered, which was NatWest. I started my career in branches. So I started I've always worked in and around Croydon. I started my career in the branch which was in Forestdale, which is no longer now. It's now Bookies. And I was there for a good few years, learning like from the bottom up, different jobs in the bank, including like cashiering and different branch roles. And then I really got an interest in business banking. I really enjoyed looking at businesses. So I sort of went down that path and went into our business banking team, and then moved into our commercial banking team where I'm a commercial manager now. As I said, there's lots of, so many varied roles in the bank. People can choose, personal banking if they prefer personal. We've got asset finance, we've got commercial banking, just normal branch banking. So many different roles and avenues you can go down. They're sort of like the more customer facing roles, but we also have got like a lot of back office roles in sort of HR, media and PR, risk and compliance, all those different kind of roles. So really whatever you want to do, there probably is a role in the bank for you, to be able to do it, because it's such a massive organisation. I think the key skills for banking is trust. One of them is trust, and building trust with your customers, whether you work in personal, business, commercial, even if you're a back office role, building trust with your front office colleagues that are having to deal with the public. So I'd say building trust is a really key skill. Communication is a really key skill, because obviously you've got to communicate with lots of different people on lots of different levels. You know, so many more levels now. I mean, when I first started, it was literally just writing letters really and face to face. You know, but now we've got emails, social media content, and talking to people via social media. So there's lots of different channels. Zoom, as we've all now got used to over the past sort of 18 months more. So that's a really key skill. And I think time management is a key skill as well. You know, making sure that you get everything done that you say you're going to do that day, you know, so that you don't let your customers or anybody else down. There's various ways into banking. I mean, I've actually just finished a round of interviews. We're taking on a new apprentice in November. So there's lots of different ways into the bank. There's the apprenticeship scheme, there's the degree graduate scheme if you've got a degree. There's obviously just going onto the NatWest website and seeing what jobs are available, and applying through that way. I think the thing that I really enjoy about the bank is that it's so varied. As I said, I've done lots of different roles, and even though I've been in commercial banking for the last 20 years, no day's the same. You know, I've got lots of different customers that I talk to. They all have different problems, different needs, different things that I might be able to help them with. So I just really like the, you know, the variety that you get from it. And also going out and visiting customers. And again, this could be whether you're in personal, business or commercial, but going out to see my commercial customers, visiting their premises, you know, meeting their staff, seeing what they do on a day-to-day basis really helps me understand them more and sort of how I can help them. And then going forward, you know, I'm hopefully got another sort of 10 or so years in the bank. You know, I want to develop my career. I'd like to become a leader in the bank, maybe of like our Croydon team. I won't tell my current boss that at the moment, because he might not like that. But you know, that's how I want to develop my career going forward. But I'm happy to, you know, if anybody's got any interest, any particular interest, to chat about things in more detail.
Okay, don't forget to mention the nice barbecues you have, and you invite your clients to every so often, of which you've been a recipient, which is very enjoyable. So it's
I do a lot of the charity and community stuff in Croydon as well for the bank, so which is a really nice part of my role as well.
It seems to be quite a kind of person-oriented job, because you are out and about, you are, you know, dealing with people, you are trying to solve problems for them, you're trying to help support them. So would you say that you know, when I think of banking, I just tend to think of maths, you know, which kind of horrifies me, because, you know, that just wasn't what I was good at. But it's not really about that, is it? I mean, what would you say are the key competency skills or the transferable skills that somebody would have to have?
So I think, I mean, just from my role or a customer facing role, I think the key skills you need to have are definitely not maths, because I got a CSE in maths, which is like the old don't even know what the equivalent is now, but it wasn't a GCSE or anything. So I got into the bank with that, but most of the maths you use is you know, nothing difficulter than what you use in your everyday life, really. I mean, obviously when you get up to a job like I'm doing, you need to assess sort of credit applications and things, which, you know, is more detailed, but you know, you learn that as you go along. That's not the kind of stuff you would have learned in school anyway. But I think the key skills, I think if you've been in a customer facing role, like a retail role, you know, doing whatever in retail, you can obviously bring that into the bank, because we're customer facing as well. So, you know, I talk to customers all day, every day. So if you've got retail skills doing that, you just need to adapt it slightly to talk about banking. Obviously we're doing a lot more on Zoom now, so everybody's been doing that, so you can use your skills. I think people think of a bank as, you know, being trustworthy, because obviously we look after people's money. So I think just proving that you are trustworthy and you do say what you do what you say you're going to do. If you say to people you're going to call them back, or then you actually do something like that. So I would say they're the key kind of skills.
Okay, and so just before I move on to our next speaker, are there kind of entry-level jobs where you don't need any qualifications, or will you always need to have some form of qualification?
You will need to have some form of qualification, sort of a basic education. But as I said, I've just been interviewing for our new apprentices, and we had a whole mixture from people that have obviously left school with maybe not great grades to people that have got A levels, or some people that have got degrees but then have not wanted to go down the graduate pathway. They prefer to start on the apprenticeship pathway. We've had people that are in. I mean, I've interviewed 2 apprentices that are sort of approaching 30 that have worked in retail for a number of years and just decided they want to switch career. So they've got that kind of experience behind them. So it doesn't have to be. There's no sort of set criteria. But what we will do is, if you're going on the apprenticeship scheme and you haven't got the basic maths and English pass as part of the apprenticeship scheme, you can retake those exams so that you get up to a certain level.
Okay, Carol, we have a question from Carol. Are you able to come on camera? It's always better to see somebody, if you don't mind. Hi, Carol, did you want to ask a question?
Hold on. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd just like to know, what about disabled people? Good afternoon. Can you hear me all right?
Just a bit.
Yeah. I'd just like to know, we got entry level for people with disabilities. How transparent is the banking industry now about getting people with a multitude of disability into the banking industry?
Okay, so would that be like physical disabilities?
I think we're having
more sensory impairment.
Sorry,
I think we're having some issues with
some problems.
Sound. So, Debbie, do you just want to take that as sort of an overall kind of arching?
Yeah. So
question.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy. We interview, whoever gets through our selection process. I mean, our interview process to get into the bank is probably the same as quite a lot of corporates at the moment. There's you fill in the application form, you have a telephone call, you have a video interview before you get through to the like face-to-face interview stage. And we're very happy to speak to anybody where, if they've got a physical disability or maybe a learning disability, as long as they can get through the interview process. And obviously, if people have got a physical disability, we're more than happy, as far as we can, to adapt our offices or adapt times. If people have got certain medical things they need to do. We've had people in the bank before that have needed to take time off at a certain time of the day to having to do something medically. So we're fully on board with employing people who've got.
I mean, Debbie, can I ask, do you have any statistics? Sorry to interject. Do you have any statistics of the number of disabled people in middle management, in the sort of career path to go into middle management? Do you keep statistics about that? So
I
it
don't.
shows some transparency.
I don't, I'm afraid. I mean, I'm sure the bank does publish statistics on, who we employ, but I don't have that with me today.
That would probably be available if you spoke to somebody at head office, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I mean, we do. I know it does exist because, I've seen statistics on, the different, the differences between men and women, how many men are employed in middle management or higher management and women. So I'm sure they do exist for other sort of groups of people as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. I've got another question before we leave you, Debbie. Can you get into banking with an accounting diploma?
Thank you very much, Debbie, for answering my question.
That's okay. Yes, you can. Again, you would have to come through the normal interview process, but you know, we're happy to take people with accounting diplomas. Depends what kind of role you want to do. I mean, if you're looking to be within one of like the bank's account teams that look after the bank's financial accounts, then that's probably a path for you, and they will probably need different qualifications than if you were to come to us looking for a relationship manager role. But that's definitely a valid qualification that we would look at.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Debbie, for the time anywhere, because there's going to be lots of questions afterwards. Rajan, let's come over to you. And if you can give us a bit of detail about your specific industry, please.
You can. Thank you, Melinda. And great to hear from you and see you, Debbie. Hope you're well. Okay, so I've been asked to speak about under the banner of finance and banking. Finances, which I always describe to people that we sort of break down into two parts. So one part is what Debbie talked about: banking, financial services, investments, mortgages, life cover, private medical, pensions, savings, investment banking, stockbroking, all of that. So that's one side. We actually fall on the other side, which is actually insurance. And the best way to describe that is if you live in a home, you want insurance. If you drive a car or a motorcycle, you need insurance to drive it on the road. So that's what we do. So we're insurance brokers, and under the insurance umbrella, you would get two. You would get either an insurer that actually writes the insurance policy and protects you, and if there's a claim, they're the ones who write the check out to you. And then you would get people like us who are insurance brokers, and we are like the experts in the middle that will go out, search the market for whatever your needs are, and then come to you. So just like you go to a mortgage broker for the best deal for you, we find the best deal under insurance. And to sort of cover off in maybe 5-10 minutes, under an insurance umbrella, there are so many different aspects, so many different roles you can do, from being an underwriter. You could be client facing, so we speak to clients and see clients on a daily basis, to maybe working in a back office where you only deal business to business, so you only deal with other insurers or other brokers. You're not speaking directly to the end client, which is the public. You could be an underwriter who decides on how to calculate the premium for a particular type of risk. You could be in the claims department. So when a claim is made, they investigate the claim, check the policy to see whether you're entitled to make a claim and what you're entitled to. You could be a loss adjuster. These are people that are sent out by an insurance company to verify a genuine claim and see what the damage is, and again, see what sort of claims you can make. You could be a loss assessor. This is appointed by a policyholder. You could be in an investigations team. And remember, Lloyd's, I'm sure a lot of you heard of Lloyd's of London. This is where insurance actually was started, maybe about 400 years ago. So Lloyd's of London insure not just in the UK, but worldwide. So they may insure satellites that go up into space. They may insure oil rigs. They may insure, all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So, insurance is sometimes people may think, oh, it's only car insurance and home insurance, but it is quite a varied and large subject, and it can be very interesting. So as I said, from cars to oil rigs and from shops to wind turbines, if I can give you the story of my own niece, who about 10 years ago came and did some work experience for us for about 6-7 months after she graduated from university. She was, in between things, wasn't sure what to do. She came in and did like an admin role for us. She found it quite interesting what she was doing, gave some exams for insurance, for an insurance industry. And she then went on to give an interview to a special broker that does oil rigs and sort of energy recycle plants and that based in Singapore for that same company. So that example I give to people about how varied insurance can be, and that's my own niece who thought it was just a 6-7 month admin, since gone on and taken. So background is I actually started on the other side with financial services in '91. I did that with a tied agent at Allied Dunbar, became an IFA, which is an independent financial advisor, and I actually moved across to insurance services in 2000, and we've been with Coversure since 2000. So that's my particular background. So yeah, you know, insurance, talking about what I think Melinda asked about qualifications and that, we have a professional body called the Chartered Insurance Institute. So you know, I'll have that, and you can go all the way to a level fellow now, say be the starting block if somebody curious about looking at the insurance industry. But it is very wide, and there is a multitude of different roles within the heading of insurance. So there are some. I have.
Hi, Rajan.
Hi.
Hi, we're having a bit of a problem. I think your bandwidth is apparently quite low.
Oh, is it?
So you're kind of freezing a bit, and so it might be better if we just open it up to questions.
Okay.
I don't know if you're, well, you're probably not able to do to do anything or to move yourself, but or perhaps go out, come back in again.
May help. Take the video off. That may help with the quality.
Yeah, no, that probably does help actually, Rajan. So I'm sorry, just to recap, what I think you were about to say where you started from.
Yeah, so I started in financial services, then moved across IFA, which is in financial advisor. And that's where I got my insurance, because I joined in too.
Rajan, we're still having problems. Perhaps what we'll do is end your particular section at the moment, and hopefully, I don't know, something magical might happen, and you know, it will come back bigger and better. So perhaps we might just go over to Nikki. Nikki, are you available? Hi, Nikki. Oh, there we go. I think you're still on mute, Nikki.
There.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I think someone was unmuting me as I did it. So I've got.
It's probably my fault. Yes.
So I've got just a bit of a presentation just to show, that's all. So yes, as I've already said, my name's Nikki. I'm branch manager of one of the nationwide branches in Purley. So could just go to the next one, please. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thanks. So my career with Nationwide so far. So I joined in 1993 and almost done 28 years at Nationwide. After a few years, I became a customer service manager, and I firstly got into the role by doing work experience. So firstly at school and then at college, all at the same branch. And then when a job came up, I was able to sort of know the team there and get involved in it that way. After a few years, became a customer service manager at another branch. And then what was really good for me is then I then went on to start my family, and so actually then became part-time and stepped down from a manager's role and went to part-time hours for about 15 years actually, while I had my children, sort of carted them back and forth to school and all the usual stuff. And then once they reached an age, I was able to go back to work full-time again. And that's when I became a branch manager. So I've only actually been a branch manager for about 4, coming up to 5 years now. Within that, the last 28 years, I've covered a number of different branches locally, and I really enjoyed doing that, going around to different branches, meeting different members of staff, picking up new roles and skills as I went along. And for me, that was a really good part of the job. Some of the things that have made me stay for so long is, one, the people that I work with. Everyone that works for Nationwide seems to have the same desire to want to really help customers and do really well and provide a brilliant service. But not only that, sort of behind the scenes, they're just lovely people that you can get on really well with, talk to, have a laugh and a joke with, and speak openly with as well. The flexibility, so like I said, you know, being able for me to go away, do my family bit, be a mum, and then come back and pick up my career, I think has been really great, and Nationwide really did support me in doing that as well. And the other thing is the members as well. So I think one of the things Debbie was saying is, you know, it's really about wanting to help your customers and be there for the members, and just really that needs to be your priority, is that everything you're doing is for the member and for their benefit, and that's something that's got to be embedded into you as a person. Can you just move to the next one for me, please? Thank you. And the next one, sorry. So just the opportunities and the benefits that Nationwide offer. So again, as both speakers have already said, it's not just about when you walk or you see a bank or an insurance company on the high street. There's lots of things going on behind the scenes. Some of these I wouldn't even know what people did or didn't do, because obviously you've got your branches on the high streets, but there's a lot of things going on in the background that help support all those, from IT through to executive jobs, HR, risk management, social investment, financial crime. So lots and lots of variety in that. And again, like the others, we offer apprenticeships, industrial placements and graduates as well. Could just move on for me. Thank you. And there's lots of benefits as well for working with Nationwide. So things such as your holiday, flexible working, they support with learning and development, offer pensions. It's very diverse and inclusive. So again, going back to that question earlier, companies are really, really trying to become a lot more diverse and inclusive now, and just make sure that we can include everybody. There's a bonus scheme that we have, a sharing in success scheme, rewards, pensions, lots of benefits to working for somewhere like Nationwide. And then just the next one, please. And then about you. So again, going to what we would need for you to apply for a job with Nationwide. We could just go to the next one. So I've taken this from our website. So this is, we're not just looking for skills and experience, it's really about you as a person. So again, we're not saying there's minimum requirements of X, Y, and Z. It's really about how you come across in an interview, how you are as a person, what your qualities are. For, like I said, for us, our member, if you're coming into a branch, if that was for me, for you to come and work in the branch, we would really be looking at how you interact with people, what your priorities are, and how far you would really go just to make sure that you did everything for that person. It's not about maths, say, for example. That really is probably the last thing that you need to be qualified in, but you need a basic understanding, obviously, but that's not something that we would take over you having the personality or the desire to want to help somebody. And that's it really for me. Again, it's just, you know, building on your career. It's entirely up to you how far you want to take it or not. It's you know, there's lots and lots of opportunities there, especially with now people having to work more from home. It's opened up a lot of opportunities where we used to have head offices in, say, Swindon. A lot of jobs there weren't accessible to everybody else in the other part of the country, whereas now they are, because they are now jobs that can be done at home. So that's opened up a whole more number of opportunities for all of us across the whole of the country. And that's it really for Nationwide.
Okay, I think I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a question. What it is Rajan, just I just want to make sure everybody's seeing this. apologies for the bad connection. Rajan's happy to chat. All the details are there. If you have any problems and you can get back to Gordon Commitment, we'll put you in touch. But thank you very much. Yes, oh, hang on. Yes, do have a look if you're interested in working for Nationwide at their jobs. They probably are recruiting quite often, are they, Nikki?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like everywhere, I guess it may have its quiet moments, but do always keep going on there. You can set alerts on there as well, so you can click onto which jobs would actually be of interest to you, and then you can get an alert through whenever one comes up. But it's worth going on and having a look just to see what's on there. Like I say, there's a whole variety of roles. A lot of what I couldn't even begin to tell you about because they're not something I have done. And they're people I probably speak to on a daily basis, and they're probably skilled in those roles. But you know, there's a whole variety of them. I'm sure they're all really, really interesting as well.
Okay, I've got a question, or hopefully a question from Nita. Nita, do you want to ask your question? Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nita, and thanks, Nikki, for the lovely insight about Nationwide. I just wanted to check, how are the placement opportunities for people over 40? Because just to tell you a little bit about myself, I come from a finance background. I've done my master's in finance and accounting. That was back in 2002, and I worked with a couple of good IT companies in India. But then my husband's job was transferable, and then we moved around Europe quite a bit, and I had a baby. So there was a gap in my career for around about 8 to 10 years. Of course, I was doing some research kind of job, like research analyst jobs from home. But still, when I wanted to get back to the corporate world, maybe 2 years ago, I found it very difficult. So I had to take up jobs just to manage living. So then I decided that basically I'm from India. Then I decided maybe it's time for me to upskill myself and then get back into the industry. So I'm here as a student in London. I'm doing my MBA in FinTech. So just wanted to know, like, how are the career growth options? Because this course that I've applied for is a 1-year MBA course with a 1-year placement. But now I have summer holidays, so I've been trying to look around for some sort of job, like internship jobs where I can get in. But I'm finding it really difficult to get into the industry because either some people say you're overqualified, or some say that you don't have proper experience. So I'm really struggling. So what kind of advice do you have for me?
I'd say obviously keep trying, don't give up, but certainly, I mean, did you say something at the beginning about being over 40? I mean, that's not something that really,
because people prefer youngsters.
In my experience with Nationwide, that's not been a problem. Believe me, I'm over 40 as well, and you know, and I became a manager over 40, went back to my career. So, and you know, that's not something, age is not definitely not something that would stand in your way with Nationwide. But it's for me, it's more about in the interview, it's really putting your personality across, really showing that you've done a little bit of research into us as well, that you know what Nationwide's about, you know what we stand for. We are different to banks. Why are we different to banks? Sort of showing that you really, really want the job, you know, and that you've researched our products, you've researched what we do, how we support the local community, and things like that. You can always, if you happen to get an interview for a branch, I would say go and visit that branch, speak to them, the staff in there beforehand, you know, go in there and say, oh, I've got an interview, I've just come to have a look, to say hi, you know, because all of that does impress, and it shows that you really have that desire for that job. I appreciate it's tough out there, and you've just got to make that one thing above everybody else. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think, you know, it is really about how you come across it, in how you want that desire to want to really help people.
Mhm.
Debbie, have you got anything to add to that, or any knowledge of NatWest kind of and their recruitment process in terms of older workforce?
Yeah, it's virtually the same as Nikki, really. I mean, we wouldn't discriminate against age at all. You know, we're quite happy. As I said, I've recently interviewed a couple of apprentices that are sort of approaching 30, which is fairly old for an apprenticeship role, but you know, that was no barrier to them. So you know, we wouldn't, you know, care about age particularly. But I completely agree with what Nikki said about you're so much more impressed with a candidate if they actually know a bit of background about the company and the local area you're going to work in, or where you've applied for the job for. You know, what's NatWest's vision and purpose, you know, what do we stand for, what are our green credentials, all things like that. If you do that kind of research, which is all on the NatWest website, and you can put that into, because some of the questions you'll get asked in the interview, you know, are around those kind of areas. And if you can introduce those into the conversation, and you know the basics of, you know, what a company stands for, the history of it, you know, that's part way, you know, at least people know that you're really interested and you really want to become involved in that company.
So Debbie, is it ever worth somebody sending in a CV on spec, or Rajan or Nikki? Would that work?
Not to us, because I mean, we've got an HR team, because obviously we're a big corporate. We've got an HR department, and all of our roles are either advertised via agencies or via our website, and the interview and the selection process goes through that. I mean, if somebody just sent me a CV, I would send it up to our HR team, but there wouldn't be anything that we could do with it locally, because it's managed. Obviously, if you've got smaller companies, they manage their own recruitment. So, you know, that's probably better for a smaller company.
Rajan?
And we have a
Oh, sorry, I interrupted. We got crossed there with Nicola. Nikki, do you just want to finish off what you were saying?
I was just saying we have a process. What we do quite often do, and we may be doing it hopefully soon, is have like recruitment evenings. So I've done one before in our Croydon branch, where a number of people came along and we did like 5-10 minute quick coffee chat interviews, and then we were able to talent bank you, so that if a local vacancy came up, we could ring you straight away and then say come in for that interview. So but they are again advertised on our website, so if you see one of those that's local to you, that's worth going along to having the coffee chat, because then we do keep your name and details then. We haven't been able to do them over the last 18 months. Prior to that we did, and they worked really well, because then when we got a vacancy we were that much quicker getting people in. But no, just sending in a CV wouldn't benefit in any way.
Okay, I totally agree. Probably it's much faster way if you have your own talent pool ready. I also agree that commercial awareness is the key these days, to know about the company, to know about the bank, and also the competitors and how things are progressing. But it's difficult to get to the interview stage. That's where I'm struggling at the moment, because I know I have capabilities. I have around about 11 years of experience. I've worked as senior banking analyst. I've worked with good banks like Deutsche Bank, Halifax Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland. But still somewhere I'm not able to, like when I apply for jobs, either at the agencies or on the website, probably I don't know if I'm just getting, I'm just one in the thousands applying for the job, or how can I just, you know, as Debbie said, maybe the small banks, it's easier because they handle everything, or probably it's easier, as you said, you know, meet up for a coffee and then create your own talent pool. Probably those options will work best for me as well. So I'm looking forward for that. So yeah, just hope.
Nita, can I ask you, did you say you're doing a master's in fintech?
Yes, I have registered. I've started the course in February.
How long is that?
It's till, I think, April next year.
Okay, because I mean, first of all, congratulations on that. You know, not a lot of people will take that up, and clearly it is the sector to be in now going forward for the next 10, 20 years. You're absolutely picked the right, subject there. What I would suggest to you is, I don't know how what agencies you're going to or who you're trying to connect with, but I don't know how much success you've had on LinkedIn or whether you've tried LinkedIn or not.
I'm quite active on LinkedIn.
Well, that's good.
I follow
Well
most
done.
of the fintech companies. I am in touch, but full-time jobs are difficult to apply now because I'm here on a student visa. I'm allowed to work 20 hours.
Right.
And most of the jobs that come across are like either 30 hours, 36 hours, full-time jobs.
I think I would take a leaf out of what Debbie said and, try and approach startups or the smaller companies where they may only want somebody part-time. So that would fit your 20 hours perfectly. But I can, coming from an insurance background, there's so many people entering the fintech arena because a lot of people think that that's the way ahead, either through, business to business or via apps or providing some sort of backroom services to the bigger boys in the industry. So I would say there's a lot of fintech companies out there. And yeah, persevere, I'm sure, but maybe refine your, sharpen your pencil to go after the smaller startup businesses, which may be a little bit of a gamble initially.
Yeah.
But if you pick the right one and it grows, you can grow with it.
Of course.
So I wish you the best with that.
Thank you so much, Raj. I appreciate. Thank you so much for your advice.
Well, thank you very much, Nita, for that question. Has anybody else got any questions they would like to ask Nikki, Debbie, or Rajan? Actually, I'll ask one each of you, or the same question to each of you. What would be your top tip for kind of getting noticed or getting ahead of the pack, if you see what I mean? I know you've already said, Nicola, about doing the research beforehand, but if you're sat opposite somebody, what would you advise? What would be your thoughts about approaching somebody, or, as you're sat there being interviewed?
Shall I answer first, ladies, if that's okay, Debbie? And
yeah, no, sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I think it's going back to what both Nikki and Debbie said, that I think as employers, we look at people rather than your CV and the qualifications or the initials after your name. Yes, as an industry, we do need qualified people that have got qualifications in insurance, because we are, one, a regulated industry, two, we are client facing. But I think it does come down to be yourself. Don't try and be smarter than you are. Do all the research, as both the ladies have said, about who you're visiting, not just as an individual, but as a business. But I wouldn't sit there trying to reel off, what you read on about us on their website. I would try and be myself and be genuine. And if you don't know something, be honest and say, look, I don't know that.
Okay.
And I think there's a very fine line between being really overkeen and promising that you're willing to do anything, including clean the tables, and being a little bit arrogant and say, well, I know what I'm qualified for and this is what I want. So, and I think that's where being yourself is really important.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that, Rajan. Nikki or Debbie, anything to add?
I would say as well, have examples ready. So when in an interview, there will be competency-based questions. So everyone who's interviewed will be asked the same question each time. And if you can give an example of when you've done something in the past and have that prepared, so that you can say what you did, or what the problem was, what you did, and what the outcome was, then that will really push you forward as well. The outcome doesn't have to be the right outcome. It could be something that you said, I did this, I tried this, it didn't work, so this is what I've learned. It doesn't always have to be like, this was brilliant, but just to have those examples ready so that you can be able to think of things, of ideas that you've done in the past, might be volunteering, that you know you wanted to do something. It could even be going off and doing further education to upskill yourself for the job. But you know, just have examples ready to give to for your questions as well, and definitely being your own personality. I mean, you know, there's nothing harder than trying to be somebody you're not, and just sort of rapport as well.
Okay, Debbie, you're on mute, Debbie.
Sorry. Same as the other two, really, but just to expand a little bit on Nikki's points. I think, you know, make sure you listen to what's being asked of you, and make sure you structure your answer in a way that answers all parts of the question. So, you know, if somebody asks you a question, you actually write it down. Don't be afraid to just say, I need a minute to write that down, or I need a minute, can you repeat it? You know, and just write down your example and like the key little points so that you know what you're going to talk about. Make sure you structure it properly so you answer every part of the question. And in terms of the examples, you know, they don't have to be complicated examples. I mean, if I had been interviewing for an apprentice role, you know, an apprentice that's 18 isn't going to have massively complicated examples of financial transactions that they've done in the past, but they just have to come up with an example that fits what's being asked. So like Nikki said, it can be, you know, anything you've done sort of outside school, work, volunteering, Saturday job in a coffee shop where you've resolved a problem, just as long as you structure it and you meet all the, you know, the objectives of the question. And a big tip I would say is we always want to know what you've done, not what the team's done. So always use I rather than we did this. It's always I did this, or I had this idea and I put it to my manager, because we're interviewing one person, not a whole group of people.
Okay, thank you very much, Debbie. I'd like to bring on Andy Chalice now. Andy, do you like to appear magically?
Hi everyone, can you hear me, see me clearly?
Yes, we can. Hi, Andy.
So thanks for having me on this. I'm Andrew Chalice. I'm the Business Development Executive for Croydon College's apprenticeship team. And I really wanted to get involved because we are putting together a revised list of courses for apprenticeships running from September. And within finance specifically, this will now be payroll level 2 and 3, accounts level 3, and the workplace pensions level 3. So it's really to help support any organisations or individuals to find out about these courses, how they apply, and just offer sort of more support within the borough of Croydon.
Okay, so can you put your email address, or can you put the relevant link from the website on the chat, Andy? Or
yeah, certainly. So what I'll do is I'll share in the comment section my contact number and email address. So if anyone has any questions, they can come to me direct.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Has anybody got any questions they would like to ask? Probably sort of last opportunity before everybody finishes work for the day. I'm thinking maybe 5 o'clock, or perhaps that's a bit too ambitious. I think really that, you know, from what we're getting from people is so much now. I mean, we've done quite a lot of these, and I'm hearing from everybody. It's employers are looking for your aptitudes and your personality just as much, or even more so, than they are looking for qualifications. So please be aware. I mean, write down what, even the smallest thing that you've done, because that could always help show somebody that you've got that skill or that ability to help resolve that particular situation. So also perhaps have a look at our website and see, we've got some confidence and employability websites, events coming up, and other things that might be able to support you in doing this. Right, final questions? No more questions? Let me just check the chat function. Andrew's just left his details here, so if anybody wants to contact Andrew directly about what kind of finance apprenticeships and courses they're running at Croydon College, please do. Other than that, I just think we'll say goodbye to everybody, and I'm glad you've come today. Thanks very much. Good luck, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.